Good afternoon, everybody. Going to go over our Forex trades for today, May 10th, Tuesday, May 10th. We had 4 trades. They were actually 2 scalps in US dollar Japanese yen, which we correlated with the Swiss franc to Japanese yen. This is just to lower the risk exposure on these scalps. The US dollar Japanese yen were full-size scalps. Swiss franc to Japanese yen were 80% of full-size scalps. Since they're very highly correlated, it's just, again, it's just a way to minimize the risk. We'll go over them in a second. First, the really not much economic news from the St. Louis Fed. They were talking about, last night, they were talking about the assets at the Bank of Japan, how they've risen to 414.4 trillion yen, up 25% from a year ago. I mean, you take that for what it's worth. Late yesterday, Carl Icahn released his 10Q. He has, I think his portfolios are right around $20 billion. He is at a historic 149% net short in his portfolio. He's never been that net short before. Going back to the end of last year, we had talked about some of his comments that he was making was very bearish. At that time, he was only 25% net short. So the first quarter of this year, and maybe, the first 4 months of this year, he's went from 25% net short to 149% net short, which means he's leveraged himself, let's just call it 1.5 times on his net short. So he's seeing something happening very shortly. Bank of America announced this morning this is the longest interrupted selling streak in history by the smart money, the big players on Wall Street, a record of 15 consecutive weeks. That's according to Bank of America. And the only real economic number that came out this morning, which is not a big number, wholesale inventories came in line. Wholesale sales actually beat estimates by a little. So really not much to report as far as real economic news. Let's get to the trades. Again, they were scalps on US dollar Japanese yen, which we correlated with the Swiss franc to Japanese yen to minimize some risk. The first one in US dollar Japanese yen, we were short 108.331. We had an opportunity to pick up 5 or 6 pips, but again, being correlated, that's not going to be enough because it's just going to balance out or net out to almost zero after commissions. So we didn't take it. We ended up covering at 108.506 for a loss of 17.5 pips. But when we were short that, we were long the Swiss franc to yen from 111.572. We sold 111.743 for 17.1 pips, almost identical, 80% of normal size. So we picked up 13.6 pips there. So obviously we're down after those 2 trades, but pretty minuscule. Then we had a signal to go long 108.506, wrote it up, and at the same time we were short Swiss franc 111.738, and as the US dollar Japanese yen started to reverse, we got out 108.594, picking up 8.8 pips. Again, that's full. And then on the Swiss franc, as it's reversing, we just held off matter of a couple minutes, and we covered 111.711. Actually picked up 2.7 pip profit. Not that that's much, but with 80% of that, that's 2.1. So in the end, we picked up 7.0 pips out of those 4 trades. That's including the full size and the size adjusted for the Swiss francs to Japanese yen. So that's it. No swing trades, no full correlation type swing trades. We didn't add to that. We still have our one that we're monitoring, and no just swing trades. So, and no other scalps this morning. Those were both last night. So that's it. We're going to wrap it up. If you're still trading now, good luck. If any signals come out, they'll be coming your way. And we'll do another video tomorrow if we get action tonight and tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day.